After 11 years back at General Motors, I decided it was time for me to retire. I had reached the age at which most GM executives stepped aside, but also felt that I needed a new challenge, something new, something different. And for once in my life, I wanted to do something that was very different, but something that I truly wanted to do, and not because the corporation said they wanted me to do it. That something was the co-founding of a private equity firm in Chicago, which over the course of 12 years raised more than $220 million and acquired a total of 8 companies. Although I love the business, in order to keep it going, we would have to commit to another 10 years, and I was not prepared to make that commitment. So my wife, Maureen, and I retired to our home in Scottsdale to enjoy each other's company and focus on our family, including our 4 children and 6 grandsons. There's something too. I was a pretty happy retired guy, golfing, traveling, and dining with my wife, when I took a call from Governor Rick Snyder in April 2011. He said to me, "Roe, I need your help. The children of Detroit need your help." He then laid out for me the assignment that he really wanted me to take. He wanted me to become the emergency manager of Detroit Public Schools and reinvent public education in Detroit. As I weighed my decision, a quote from Marion Wright Edelman, the president and founder of the Children's Defense Fund, kept coming to mind. Quote, "If you don't stand up for children, then you don't stand for much." End of quote. To me, that quote says it all very simply and succinctly, and describes exactly why, with the support of my wife, Maureen, I accepted this assignment 24 months ago. Many people ask me why I took the job. A few people said, "Are you crazy?" 20% of the people meant, "Are you mentally ill?" 80% of the people had given up on the system. I had not given up on 100,000 kids that needed help. And so I really took it. It was quite simple why I took it. It's personal for me. As I shared with you earlier, I came from a background that could be the mirror image of a lot of Detroit children, a single-parent household with multiple mouths to feed and pressure pulling at my father from all ends. I know the impact an education can have on a child because, quite frankly, education changed my life. I am where I am today because of my education and the teachers and mentors who helped me grow not only my mind, but also my character. One of the presenters tonight's father was one of my teachers who helped me with that. It was basic for my sojourn in the corporate world, then private equity, and now public education. I would also venture to say that all of you are where you are for this exact same reason. I have to tell you, this has been the toughest job of my career, and I've had some pretty tough jobs. But it's also been by far the most rewarding. We're making a real difference in the lives of children in Detroit. And anytime I have a tough day, and that's often, go over to an elementary school and look in the face of a 3rd grader, and you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you have an obligation to do it well. I think it's critically important that you all understand how far we've come in rebuilding Detroit Public Schools since I was appointed in May of 2011. I talk about Detroit Public Schools, but it's applicable to all schools throughout the nation. Every school here in Detroit, you name the city, every school here in Grand Rapids is applicable to kids in this country. When I began this journey 2 years ago, Governor Snyder and I agreed that if Detroit does not improve, we will never be able to reinvent Michigan. With this foundation as a basis, he gave me 2 priorities. First and foremost, to fix the system so that Detroit children will get the best education possible, and then eliminate the crippling deficit that was preventing funds from getting into the classroom. To level set everyone here, let me update you on a few important things. When I started as emergency manager in May 2011, I had 31 people reporting to me, half of whom were contractors, including 9 people in academics and the entire finance organization, some of who only worked part-time and got paid full-time pay. This was completely unacceptable. So I focused on getting the contractors out and hiring people in permanent positions with clear goals and responsibilities. I'm proud to say that I now have a solid team of professionals, all of whom have deep Detroit roots and a strong commitment to our students. Everyone put in a full day's work and then some. They don't complain about the long hours or difficult circumstances we're faced with. Their sole focus is reinventing the district in order to provide our children with the best possible education. At the same time, we were building the team. We were also focused on putting into place processes and procedures and systems that were previously non-existent in the system. This type of work is never sexy, certainly doesn't get a lot of media coverage. It is, however, the type of behind-the-scenes gutsy work that is essential to fixing any system. Take everybody out of the city of Detroit government, bring in all Harvard MBAs, and the replacement people would do what their predecessors did because you follow process and procedure. You got to fix the system. These processes and procedures assisted us in a review of all of our district contracts, and we found that many were poorly written and not to our overall benefit. So I made the decision to cancel all district contracts and make vendors rebid. Let me be clear about something. It's not that the vendors were bad or did anything wrong. It's just that the contracts were poorly developed and written, and they worked against us in most cases. The outcome of this rebid was $40 million in savings to the district. Ray Charles could see that. We saved another $2.2 million by relocating all DPS departments into the 6 floors that were already owned in the Fisher Building. Previously, DPS employees had worked in 4 different buildings on 3 different blocks. Bringing them all together has allowed for people to get to know each other and for better information exchange and problem solving. The job is come together, put the problem on the table, arm wrestle if you have to, solve the problem, and do the right thing for kids. My experience in the corporate world taught me that if you can get people talking to each other in a face-to-face setting, it's easier to not only identify but quickly resolve the problems that you're confronted with. Now let me turn to the district's finances, which was so critically important. So nearly 2 years ago, DPS had a deficit of $327 million, the same as the city of Detroit today. Their long-term debt was $15 billion. I'm proud to say that deficit is now $76 million, which represents a 73% reduction, and we did it in a little over 1 year. I can also report that because of the difficult decisions that were made, including the closing of 9 schools and the chartering of 2 more, as well as a variety of belt-tightening measures that were implemented, we reduced our total expenditure by 25% in the last fiscal year. And for the last 2 consecutive years, we've turned in a balanced budget on time and achieved operating surpluses. I say on time, doesn't sound strange to you, hadn't done it in 15 years. Equally as important, we've completed the audit of our financial statement on time and achieved the best results that we've had in decades, reducing the number of findings by more than 33%. Many of you may also be aware that the U.S. Department of Education classified Detroit Public Schools as one of 2 high-risk school districts in the United States of America, just 2. After seeing the results of this last audit and hearing passionate, detailed presentations from key department heads recently, we will soon have this unfortunate label lifted from Detroit Public Schools. In fact, representatives of the USDE have said that DPS is the fastest improving urban school system in the United States of America.